So this is a pretty grubby looking stump. You want to find stumps or logs that are rotten, preferably with a little moisture in them. That's not totally necessary. So I'm going to get cracking in on this and see if I can find any of those wood boring grubs. Well, I didn't have much luck on that first stump, so I'm going to give this one a try. It's got some holes in it. Looks like a woodpecker was probably trying to get the grubs that are in it, so this might be a good bet. Looks like the only thing I uncovered in here was an ant's nest. They're kind of pissed off right now. So I'm gonna go see if I can find a log. Looks like a bear had the same idea here. They will tear apart these old logs and the old stumps just looking for those grubs. For them, it's a tasty treat. Well, I did manage to find some termites. You can find termites that are big enough, they'll make decent bait. Although, I wouldn't let them loose in your house. I may have found something here that was usable for fish bait. It's a wasp nest. There's a couple of plug capsules, so I'm going to crack that open and see if there happens to be any grubs in there. So yeah, there was one grub in there. These make pretty good fish bait too, although they're a little on the smaller side. Woohoo! Yep, I got two of them. Whoop, one slipped out. That right there is a trout minnow. So unfortunately, these minnows are gonna die within the next couple of weeks. This whole area is all dried up, and the thing that's making them so easy to catch right now, they're stuck in these little tiny pools that are just going to dry out. So find them in a situation like this, you're definitely not, like taking them out of nature and killing them unnecessarily. If you can use them for bait, go for it. So I've been flipping over rocks here in the creek bed, and that right there is a caddisfly larva that was on the bottom of this rock when I rolled it over. They make their shell out of stones, and they use silk to weave it together. And this is how they protect themselves until they emerge. And I'm Unfortunately, this one has already emerged. I'll see if I can find another one so I can show you what they look like. What the heck? It's a little bass. It's very freshly dead. It's kind of weird finding it like that, but it's fresh enough you could use it for bait. Yep, there's another one. Nothing there. I'm kind of surprised there's nothing under this. So I finally found a caddisfly larva that was still in its shell. Usually they're a lot wider than that. I'm kind of thinking it's because it's in the pond. It must have some sort of algae or something growing on it. And generally they're a little bit bigger than that too. But these, they make excellent bait for trout and panfish like crappie or bluegill. Well, that was a lucky find. I was tearing apart another stump trying to find wood grubs and found a good old cricket. That make excellent bait. Oh, actually found a cricket nest. There's a couple decent sized ones there. And yeah, there's a little itty bitty one there. See if I can gather some of these up and put them in my little tin. And here's some ant larvae. They're not real big, but they're big enough you could put them on a hook, and put about 3 or 4 of those on a hook, you'd probably get a trout. So I've got my trusty Ninja turtle net. I'm looking for some crawdads for fresh bait. The way I do that, come down here to the Crooked River and just start slowly walking upstream, watching the bottom. And you can usually see them walking along. And sometimes if you see a big rock, you can roll the rock over. There's a good chance there'll be a crawdad under it. So I caught my first one. This one here, definitely not eating size. But if you were making bait out of the tail meat, you'd get about 4 or 5 pieces out of that tail. And this is also small enough that you could put the whole thing whole onto one of your big, like, you know, single-aught, double-aught hooks. Throw it out for bass. Only problem here in Oregon, you're not allowed to use live bait, so you'd have to kill it first if you were going to use it whole. There's a fairly decent sized one right there in the water. Oftentimes the first thing you'll notice will be those little white patches on their claws. That's what alerted me to this one first, so let me go ahead and see if I can net it. Gets a little tricky when you're in the rocks. And There we go. You might be wondering, why in the world do I have a Ninja Turtle net? Well, for crawfishing, you want a net that's got a fairly fine mesh if you're trying to catch them for bait. That way you can catch a pretty small one and use it whole when you're trying to catch bass. The way I ended up with this Ninja Turtle net a few years ago at Bi-Mart, these were being sold for little kids and they were on clearance at the end of the summer. I think I paid like a whole $2 or $3 for it. And I had a choice. It was either Ninja Turtle or Barbie. I modified it and I put a handle on it that makes a little over 3 feet. That seems to be about the right length for catching crawdads in a shallow river or creek. So I caught 6 in about 15 minutes. If I'd come here earlier in the day, I probably could have loaded up on a lot more. So let's see if I can find the smallest one. Gotta watch out, these little ones, they're the ones that really pinch. So yeah, that's the littlest one. It's like a little over 2 inches long. Got one trying to run away there. Anyways, this is actually the ideal size if you're gonna put a hole on your hook trying to cast out and catch a bass. So this here's the biggest one, and it's the only one that's even close to being an eating size. I'd prefer to get them bigger than this, but yeah, this is about minimum if you were thinking about eating them. But to kill them, just lay them down on a flat surface like this. Take your knife, put it onto the shell right in the middle of the head, and it's just like killing a lobster. Just drive the knife down in. And just that quick, they're dead. They might twitch a little bit, but you know, it's done now. So once they're dead, the way to remove the tail is you'll just pinch the shell right here where the base of the tail hits the base of the carapace. And then you'll grab it with your other hand and just give it a sharp twist and it should come right off. I'm filming here alone by myself. It's kind of hard for me to show that, so I'll just do it real quick off camera. Anyways, this is what you end up with. And again, I'll probably have to do the next part off camera because again, I'm by myself. I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna slit the underside of the shell here, and then I can peel that meat out of there. So here in this shot, you can see where I slit up the shell and then I pulled it apart and peeled the meat out of it. And that right there is the tail meat. You'll end up with pieces about that big. You don't need a whole lot. You just need enough to put the scent on your hook. I'm going to show you the easier way of catching crawfish with a crawfish trap. I've caught myself a decent sized crappie to use as bait, and I've killed it, so you know, I mean, it ain't going to do any good if he's swimming around in the trap. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on in. And then I found the spot where it's kind of muddy over there, rocky over here. It's a good place to start looking for crawfish. There goes a big helicopter from the fires nearby. I'm gonna go ahead and toss it out here about 15, 20 feet. Okay, and I'm gonna let that soak for about 6 or 7 hours and I'll come back and see what I got. I finally found some grasshoppers. It's been a pretty bad year for them. And here's another one that's quite a bit bigger than those first two. You can just see it right there below that leaf that's at the tip of that little piece of grass. Catfish really like these. You can definitely catch trout and crappie with them, and I'm sure a bass would grab them too. But it's been a pretty bad year for grasshoppers. So not only am I hardly seeing any, but most of them are tiny. This one's letting me get within a couple feet from it, so I'm gonna see if I can just reach over and grab it real quick. Probably not gonna get it, but maybe I'll get lucky. Nope. So I just found these snails here on the boat ramp. I've been seeing a lot of shells all over the place, so I knew they were here. I wasn't really finding them in the rocks, but right here on the edge of this boat ramp, I've got these two here, one right there, another one right over here, and you can break these open, pull the snail out of it, put it on your hook. A lot of different fish will bite it. Here's a bonus. This is what's called pitchwood. A lot of these old stumps start hacking into them, especially just a little ways in from the edge, and you'll run into this wood that's streaked with the pitch in it. This stuff here, it makes excellent fire starter.